Hi, everybody. Zweidler-McKay with ZM Coach, where we're all about helping you take your career to the next level, preparing for and planning for and landing that next promotion, whether that's at your current company or somewhere else. So I had an interesting conversation with a friend the other day. She runs a marketing company and she was hiring a project manager. And she said, Elida, I have to tell you, every single person I interviewed, every woman I interviewed for this project management position, when I told them what we were looking for and what we needed in the position, started off with what they wouldn't be able to do or what they weren't comfortable with, instead of picking up on the pieces that I had talked about that they could do. And it really struck me because every single one of them just came across as so unconfident and unprepared for the interview. And it was really disappointing because I liked them when I got to know them. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is such a challenge for so many people. I think especially women and especially people of color, but certainly anyone who's experienced any kind of life situation where maybe they feel a little bit less than. I think there are three reasons that people do this, have this kind of tendency when it comes to interviews, whether that's for job placements in a new company or whether they're trying to position themselves to move up in their own company. I think these three things really get in the way. One is this concern or worry about not wanting to overpromise, right? So when you're trying to move into a new role, that's a little bit scary, and it can be it can feel really important to make sure you're positioned to be successful, which is true. But the problem is that if you're coming into that with your guard up and like concerned that you might overpromise or that they might expect too much of you and you won't be able to handle it, that's going to come across as a real lack of confidence in the interview. And that's going to really have you miss out on an opportunity to position the value that you do bring. I think at the heart of that, the second thing that really gets in the way is a sense of imposter syndrome or kind of a lack of confidence. Um, People tend to look at job descriptions or listen to a listing of job duties, and they're kind of ticking the box on, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that one. I don't know about that. And then that is what comes out in the conversation, rather than really holding on to an internal belief that you can figure it out. That given that you know these other things and you know how to do those, there's plenty of contribution you can make to the role. And for the parts you're not so familiar with, you'll get there. You'll understand it. You've had plenty of times in your life where you've stepped up to the plate and not known exactly what you were doing. And frankly, no one ever knows all the parts of any given job that they might do. So one of the things that I work with my clients on is building that internal executive presence, we call it, that real sense of confidence, a real awareness of what their strengths are and their skills are, so that when they're faced with that kind of laundry list of 10 million things that a job is looking for, they can grab onto the ones that they are good at and really stay present to their own skill, their own experience, their own expertise, so that then that comes across in the interview itself. And then I think the third thing that kind of gets in the way for people is that a lot of folks have been trained over a lifetime to be humble. And this is especially true for people who've been raised in families or in cultures where bragging is really seen as unacceptable, or where talking about yourself and your accomplishments is really not done. If you come from that kind of history, that kind of family, that kind of culture, sharing your skills, sharing your strengths, sharing your experiences can be really uncomfortable, especially if you don't feel like you have a way of doing that isn't bragging or, being too forward or putting yourself out there too much. So that's the other piece that I work with my clients on, is how to really position your accomplishments in a way that feels good to you and feels authentic to you, but lets them shine, so that you're not hiding your light, hiding what you're good at, but you're also not having to be somebody that you're not, or so come across in this really braggy way that's going to feel uncomfortable to you. So we really work on specific techniques to be able to tell stories about your experience and be able to illustrate your experiences without having to come right out and say, I'm the greatest thing since iced tea, because that, can really feel horrible. And especially if it doesn't come naturally to you, then there you are in the interview trying to be yourself, but not really being yourself. And, it can really build on having you come across in a way that feels uncomfortable, both for you and for the person interviewing you. And frankly, is probably not likely to get you the job. So to sum it up, when you're going into an interview, you want to really get focused on what you're good at, what your experiences are, what you can accomplish. You want to have real strategies for how you can share those things in a way that feels authentic and comfortable to you. And then finally, you want to keep your eye on that worry about overpromising, and just know that absolutely everybody who's applying for a job is going to have skills that they bring and skills that they're missing. And that's what it means to stretch into that next level. If this is something you'd like to know more about, feel free to reach out to me. You can watch my webinar on the 5 shifts that professionals make to take their careers to the next level, or you can book a call with me and we can talk about your career, where you are now and where you'd like to go. And if I can help you get there, we'll talk about what that would look like. And if not, I'll help you find some strategies that will at least help you move forward in the short term. I do look forward to talking to you or having you check out the webinar, stay in touch with me. And if I can support you in your career, let me know. Take care.